when Yoon Bin is no longer the gentle soldier. Many still remember Yoon Bin donning a North Korean military uniform with a gentle gaze and understated performance in Crash Landing on You. After that beloved drama, he married co-star Son Ye-jin and entered a relatively quiet phase on television. For nearly 3 years, Yoon Bin was a rare presence on the small screen, despite staying active in cinema with the successful film Harbin. Now, his return through Made in Korea marks not only a comeback but a bold reinvention. No longer the romantic hero or noble warrior, he steps into the shoes of a character driven by ruthless ambition and political manipulation. This isn't just a career move, it's a cultural commentary. When history's wounds need revisiting, it's not through sentiment, but through the raw lens of power. Body 1. Made in Korea, when politics becomes the protagonist. Set in the politically charged 1970s, Made in Korea explores a fierce battle for power between two men who represent opposing ends of the societal spectrum. 1. A man consumed by ambition, Baek Ki-Tae, played by Yoon Bin, and the other. A principled prosecutor, Jang Eun-Young, played by Jung Woo-Sung. Where previous K-dramas such as Chief of Staff focused on legal procedures and policy, Made in Korea rewinds the clock to a time when law could be bent and justice was a luxury. This backdrop elevates the narrative from a personal duel to a sweeping reenactment of a turbulent era. Here, ethics are not assumed but contested, and every decision is steeped in political consequence. 2. Yoon Bin as Baek Ki-Tae, the rise of a calculated anti-hero. Throughout his career, Yoon Bin has often played characters with emotional depth and quiet strength. But Baek Ki-Tae is a departure, a man intoxicated by power, wealth, and influence. The first released images show Yoon Bin in a sleek black suit, white shirt, and black tie, holding a phone to his ear with a cold, calculating expression, hinting at a man who manipulates more than he commands. He has stepped out of his comfort zone. This is a role where we see Yoon Bin playing a high-stakes game, far from the romantic ideal his fans are used to, shared a film critic with Korean Film Review. This transformation is a strategic move. At a time when Korean television is saturated with predictable rom-coms, a character like Baek Ki-Tae, a morally ambiguous, politically hungry anti-hero, feels like a breath of sharp air. And Yoon Bin is betting on that edge. 3. Yoon Bin vs. Jung Woo-Sung, when ideals clash with ambition. While Baek Ki-Tae is the embodiment of modern-day Machiavellianism, Jang Eun-Young is his ideological counterpoint, a prosecutor with a sharp mind, unwavering principles, and a deep commitment to justice. As the political environment unravels, he becomes the last line of resistance, setting up a collision course between two worldviews. Their confrontation is not just about screen presence, it's a symbolic clash. In an increasingly polarized world, where institutional trust is eroding, the audience is forced to reflect: do we root for ideals, or for outcomes? 4. Power isn't just a man's game. While the spotlight naturally falls on the two male leads, Made in Korea also introduces powerful female characters who do more than just support, they shape the narrative. Won Jin plays Choi Yoo-ji, a talented lobbyist, one of the rare times this profession is portrayed with seriousness in Korean TV. She's not a background character but a political operator, influencing and potentially redirecting the flow of power. Seo Eun-Su, as Oh Ye-jin, plays an investigator whose intellect and determination bring light to hidden truths. In a world where justice is buried, it is women like Yoo-ji and Ye-jin who may be the moral compass. The inclusion of Cho Yo-jeong and Yong Sung-yeol in pivotal supporting roles adds further depth, earning the series the nickname the political dream team from drama Korea Daily. 5. Why the 1970s? The 1970s in South Korea was a time of contradictions. Under President Park Chung-hee's authoritarian rule, the country experienced rapid economic growth alongside severe political repression. For filmmakers, this era is both rich with narrative potential and laden with controversy. Made in Korea dives headfirst into this complexity, not merely to dramatize it, but to reflect on its legacy. As Professor Kim Hyun-woo of Korea University noted, the 1970s were a period when Korea exploded economically but imploded morally. Any story set during this time must ask, what was the real cost of that progress? Conclusion: a gamble for the era. With Made in Korea, Yoon Bin and the creative team are taking a significant risk. In a landscape dominated by escapist entertainment, they have chosen to tackle a weighty, potentially divisive subject. But perhaps that is exactly what makes this series stand out. This isn't just Yoon Bin's return, it's a declaration that he is ready to embrace roles with more grit, complexity, and social relevance. When power, justice, and truth collide in a fractured society, Made in Korea promises not just a political drama, but a mirror held up to the audience, asking, in a world full of shadows, who really win? After years of near silence on television, Yoon Bin is finally returning to the small screen, and not with just any drama, but a fierce political thriller set in 1970s Korea. Titled Made in Korea, this Disney Plus original has already begun stirring waves online, not only for its explosive premise but for Yoon Bin's unprecedented transformation. This is not just a comeback, it's a reinvention. A star re-emerges, the long-awaited return of Yoon Bin. Yoon Bin last appeared in a K-drama in 2019's Crash Landing on You, one of the most iconic romances in Korean TV history. The series catapulted him to international stardom and coincided with the beginning of his real-life romance with co-star Son Ye-jin, whom he married in 2022. After their marriage, Yoon Bin focused on film, most notably the action historical film Hyun, which performed well at the box office. But television remained untouched, until now. In Made in Korea, Yoon Bin shakes off the soft-spoken soldier archetype and dives into a much darker, more complex character. His role, Baek Ki-Tae, is an ambitious figure who will stop at nothing to attain power and wealth, even if it means plunging deep into Korea's murky political underbelly. Yoon Bin as you've never seen him before. The early visuals from Made in Korea present a version of Yoon Bin far removed from his past personas. Clad in sharp suits, his eyes cold and calculating, Baek Ki-Tae looks like a man shaped by both privilege and peril. He is no longer the protector or the lover, he is the disruptor. Critics have described Baek Ki-Tae as Yoon Bin's boldest role yet, and for good reason. In an industry where actors often stick to tried and tested images, Yoon Bin's willingness to portray a morally ambiguous political operator feels refreshing, almost revolutionary. It's a statement that he's ready to take on layered, uncomfortable characters in the next phase of his career. A duel of titans, Yoon Bin and Jung Woo-Sung face off. Made in Korea doesn't just bank on Yoon Bin's return, it builds a dramatic battleground between two heavyweight actors. Opposite Baek Ki-Tae stands Jang Eun-Young, a principled prosecutor played by Jung Woo-Sung, whose instinct and integrity make him the perfect foil to Yoon Bin's ambition-driven anti-hero. Their characters are on a collision course fueled by a dangerous political landscape. Their conflict is more than personal, it's ideological. It reflects the larger question at the heart of the drama: in a corrupt world, what defines justice? This face-off between Yoon Bin and Jung Woo-Sung could become one of the most iconic rivalries in modern K-drama history. More than just men in power, the women of Made in Korea. Breaking away from traditional political dramas dominated by male perspectives, Made in Korea features strong, strategically placed female characters who drive the plot forward,